Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Yes or no? It looks like that the mute option was on, so let me know if you guys can hear me. Yes or no? I was talking for a couple minutes now and it was on mute. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Just 2 or 3 more minutes. If anybody is here from the Spanish stream, let me know. If you speak Spanish and you miss, you want to see the Spanish stream, is already on my page. This is going to be an English only, stream. We have we're going to have a couple of things to talk about. Autism. It's going to be all the way. Okay. Let me share here. I know, Nicole. Well, it is fine. Yeah. I think this one's going to be better because my other time was the first time doing any live presentation since late December. This is my first time doing it on StreamYard with my headset, with my microphone, with my background screen. So a little more professional. So I'm going to start 1 more minute. We're going to get this rolling. Okay. Let me put my bar. Okay. 1 more minute. I'm going to have news at the end of the. I'll have an announcement at the end of the podcast. All right, we're going to start with what we have. Everybody that's here, obviously more people are going to come in. Remember, this is going to be recorded, so if you miss the first few minutes or you miss it at all, it's going to be recorded on my page. So everybody, good evening to everybody. Thank you all for being with me here this evening. I really appreciate all of you taking time away from your busy schedule to be with me. And that means a lot. And it's my job and my responsibility to make sure that your time is going to be worthwhile for all of you. So a little bit about myself. If you don't know who I am or you're wondering who is this guy, what we're going to talk about. Okay, we're going to talk about autism, but what this guy had to do with autism. I'm going to answer that question and more during this live. So let's begin. My name is Tony Hernandez Pumarejo. I'm a person born, raised in the island of Puerto Rico. And the reason why I talk about autism is because autism has been with me since age 3. Since age 3 all the way to now, autism has been with me. It has been the determining factor of my life. And this journey started when I was diagnosed with autism at age 3. And as a person on the autism spectrum, I went through different challenges that are common, different challenges to being on the autism spectrum. Some challenges that are common, other challenges that are not common with other people on the spectrum. And you can say that when I was diagnosed, that was the real beginning of my life. Some of the challenges that I went through was not being nonverbal until age 3, struggles with social communication, struggles with making friends or connecting with others, which led to unfortunate tough situations of bullying, rejection, one after another. Also dealing with social anxiety, depression, struggles with change. As a family, I was the third of three children, then became four. My parents were split up, and we lived with my mom for some time, and then my dad a couple of years, and it was a lot of changes, a lot of tough moments. Um, but as part of the progress, I was able to make improvements and be able to get the skills necessary in able to improve my skills and to be able to survive. Um, and so, for example, I took therapies, behavior therapy, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, speech therapy, occupational therapy. Those helped me for a few years, but that's not all that it helped me. And despite and not only that, but it was not only challenges. There were a couple, great moments, especially my pastimes, my hobbies. For example, I developed different hobbies like video games, arts. I used to play Nintendo most of the time. I became a Star Wars fan, um, and I developed different hobbies. And for me, these were not only hobbies, but it was also it was like going to a different world. A lot of times, because of the challenges that I was going through, I was trying to escape to a different world, and that's the thing. And that's what I did to survive those years. And in the time went by, the challenges became more strong, more difficult. Dealing with different types of bullying, rejection in school. Some of the bullying that I went through, I don't even wish it my worst enemy. And then later, at age 14, I heard this word that for the first time would become the defining factor of my life: autism. Age 14, I was diagnosed at age 3, but I was informed at age 13, teenage years, wondering why they didn't tell me about it before. Because I always wonder, I felt from the beginning, even though not clearly, that something was different about me, but I didn't know what. So as part of that, struggle, I took a lot of hits in my life. For example, the therapy helped me to become verbal, be able to communicate others in person. Um, but what really helped me also was the hits, being hit in the face and being hit by the punches that life throws at you, and be able to stand up. Because if I didn't stand up, then I would not be here right now. And also my faith in God, God helped me to survive some of these situations. And in terms of that process, eventually I was able to, I made some friends from here and then, but they didn't last too long. It was always difficulty keeping friends. So basically, I was able to get excellent grades and being able to graduate with my high school diploma with high grades. So that was the good news. Then eventually I was able to um, be able to graduate from, go to college. I did have a lot of struggles in college. And not only that, but also situations in my family, situations with friends that thought they were friends. And it was very difficult. I felt alone many times dealing with severe and clinical depression. It's not fun. Definitely not. And and I was trying very hard. I didn't have a social life, and I was not doing very well in college. And so I felt frustrated with myself, very frustrated. It got to a point in which I lost, the will to do anything. And so as a result, I decided to end what I was doing and move to Florida back in 2012. I left college for a time and be able uh, to start again a new life. And that's what I did. Now I had to start a new life, be able to find a job. I was trying to find a job that was a fit as a person with my condition, but nothing came into fruition. And so this definitely then after that, I got a position in which I got a job in which in an area which was not recommended for an autistic or a person on the spectrum to be, which was which was the area of customer service and social communication. It requires a lot of social communication, multitasking, pressure, fast-paced environment, and I was put into that environment, and it was tough. It was like going back to school, and and it was a fight because I felt a lot of frustration. It got to a point at which I almost threw in the towel and I gave up and left that job to try to find something that was more of a fit for me. So basically, uh, that's this I felt frustrated with myself. I was blaming the circumstances, people that hurt me in the past, bullied me in the past, blaming family members, blaming everybody, even autism, for what it did. Was not helping me. So it got to a point in which I can no longer do that. I had to accept, step up, take all the tools, take where I have, and fight and do what I had to do, and to not let autism determine what I can and cannot do in my life. So it was a struggle. A lot of times you maybe see me that more, like, oh, this person how can a person like me have autism? Oh, maybe he's making it up or anything. And I can understand that. But you don't see the behind the scenes, the struggles, the real struggles to get where I am today, and still the things that I have left to do. And so I was able to learn, improve my social communication skills as much as possible, and be able to survive in my job the whole year. And so after that, I worked in other things. And then about a year, almost 2 years, I went back to college to finish what I started in Puerto Rico, going to finish my bachelor's degree. The bachelor's degree, when I was in Puerto Rico, I started engineering. That didn't work for me. Then psychology, that didn't work for me. Then I went to entrepreneurship or business. Reason for it is because of what I've gone through. I began to read books of personal development, to set up goals, financially freedom, and many other things to achieve a better life, to be more happy, achieve a better, more happy life. And that's what helped me towards survive and to be able to, achieve a better life and not let the past determine what I can and cannot do. And so the good thing is my second time in college was I was able to learn the different skills that were going to be necessary in order to be successful in life. Learn sales, marketing, and many other things. And so that's what I did. I was able to, and I credit to the professors of accounting and marketing uh, in helping me learn those social skills and put myself out there. And I truly greatly appreciate that. And a couple years later, I was able to graduate from college with my bachelor's degree in business and information management. And I wish I was able to graduate. I was recognized in the ceremony by the college president at that time as a person on the spectrum graduated from college. I graduated with my 3.7 GPA Magna Cum Laude honors. And what was more important for me was not me getting the degree. What was more important for me was that recognition, because that recognition became a confirmation of what was my mission and what has been the mission that I have to this day, which is educate and to talk to society about autism and the way in which we can help each person on the spectrum achieve a better quality of life. And that's the key. I'm just a story, but there's so many stories out there that are not heard, that have been ignored, that have been misunderstood. I know that autism is different, challenges. Some are more functional, others are not. Some are verbal, some are non-verbal. But I've always believed that despite the challenges, each person on the spectrum can achieve a better quality of life. And that's what I have believed, and I still believe to this very day. So this is in connection, now going to my work on the autism community. Um, I started my work in the autism community back in 2014, almost 8 years now that I've been active in the community. Became part of the board of directors of an autism organization here in Orlando, in Florida. Then I did work with other organizations. I still do work with other organizations such as Autism Speaks and many others. And it's been, I've been able to learn so much, and to be able to learn from the community and so much, that the community is part of my life, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here. So after that, to graduate from college, I mentioned I continued to work in customer service, almost 10 years of experience working in sales and management, and I was able to graduate, and then later on, I was able to publish my first ever book called An Autism Unscripted Life. I don't know if it's going to show up well over here because of the screen. I don't know. It doesn't show well, but I don't know. It doesn't show up well. I'm going to fix that later. So I released my book called An Autism Unscripted Life back in 2018. In which I talk about my life in the spectrum from childhood all the way to adulthood at that time, in my own words. And also later on became a public speaker, motivational speaker, and then after that, I was offered an opportunity which I thought I was never going to be offered, was to be on television. Reason for it is because when I went to Puerto Rico, they did interviews about me in regards to the book. Not only, Autism Unscripted Life was not only in English, but also in Spanish, Una Vida Autista Sin Libreto. So I was interviewed on the main channels of Puerto Rico. And then after here, I was interviewed in New University in Orlando. And after that, I was offered my own TV segment. And I was, in shock that I was able to receive that opportunity. If I were asked 2 or 3 years ago, before then, would I be doing television, I would have said no. And so I started as a guest on that television, segment, and then later on, I was able to bring people to interview on the segment, which was, which was great, and I was honored to bring so many people from the autism community. Like, for example, interviewing Dr. Temple Grandin. As many of you know here, Dr. Temple Grandin is the most famous person with autism in the world, one of the first people in the spectrum to disclose her condition. And I had the honor of being the first Hispanic person on the spectrum, autistic, to interview Dr. Temple Grandin almost a year ago. And later I was able to interview different people, not only from the autism community, but also from different areas of life, especially with conditions and all that. For example, I had the honor and privilege of interviewing Sofia Hirao, the Puerto Rican model with Down syndrome, who is a global phenomenon right now. I had the honor and privilege of interviewing her and interviewing so many people, bringing topics about autism. This segment was not only for Orlando, for Florida, for even Puerto Rico. It was for the entire world. So many people in communities around the world benefited from the segment in the Spectre Orlando for 2 years. I had the honor and privilege to be part of that project. So today, I'm no longer there. Hopefully, I'm able to go back to television very soon, but I'm working on that right now. But basically, that's been my life. So in my own words, and definitely now you heard about one story on autism. Now let's talk about the reason why we're here. Reason is because starting on April 2nd, it is the beginning of Autism Month. It's the day that is recognized by the United Nations as the day for autism around the world since 2005. This is a time in which most society paid more attention to autism than the other months. And there's different ways, differences of opinion in terms of how to approach this month. Where some people call it Autism Awareness Month, whether they see autism negative or positive, or it's a condition, or it's a disease, or is we should focus more on autism acceptance, autistics. You have the differences of opinion between parents and autistics, and and I respect all those opinions. I have and understand the different points of view, but we have to get clear in terms of what to really do for in regards to Autism Month. My definition, and this is my personal opinion based on my experiences of life, was as working and also living with autism since age 3, is that I define autism as a condition of life, and I define autism as being persevere or perseverance. Being able to persevere under the challenges, and not only for my life, but also what a lot of parents have to do. They have to persevere to be able to get the best support out there for their children that are in the spectrum. And most of the times, if not all the times, it's not easy. They face different challenges from here or from there. Um, but I believe autism is very unique. There's differences within autism. There's different types of autism. For example, you see me. I'm only one story of autism, but there's many others, and they need to be heard. And I understand the different opinions and issues that divide our community right now, whether to go by autistic or a person on the spectrum. Um, some people supporting ABA therapy, others not supporting ABA therapy. I can't, for example, the ABA therapy debate. I know different adults have gone through different challenges and situations and bad moments with ABA therapy, and I respect their opinion, their positions. But we cannot all say that ABA therapy is bad. It is not. And I know personally from people that I work with, they are ABA therapists that do ABA, and they do a great job. Now, it's not perfect. In the beginning of ABA, it was not perfect. It had its own troubles. But that's one of the things we had to focus on. Again, I'm not saying that I endorse ABA therapy. I don't endorse any therapy. What I do endorse, and what I always encourage parents to do, is to be able to help their loved ones to achieve a better quality of life. Do what I had to do to become as independent as possible. Because the reality is that at the end of the day, the parents are not going to be there forever. That's the reality of life. We had to prepare people on the spectrum to have a more independent life, a better quality of life. And I believe that could be possible. But it is not only the parents and the families, but the society in general. People in society has to put their part. They have to do their role and be able to create the environments to achieve a better life for people on the spectrum. So I'm just for this Autism Month, and from now on, my focus is to be able to create autism as a social responsibility, to work together as a society, to help people on the spectrum, and not only them, but their families as well, and their communities, to focus on the single thing that should unite our community, which is a better quality of life. That's what we need to focus on, in my opinion, in my experience. So there's different challenges and issues that divide our communities. A lot of times, make no sense. But we need to focus on being a more united community and also a more united society, so that way we can achieve a better quality of life for all. Because the thing is that the challenges of autism is going to be they're going to continue to increase. And right now, there's around 70 million people on the spectrum around the world. And it's going to be it's a social responsibility, in my opinion. So I think there's a couple of things for autism. Do what you have to do. Wear color blue if you have, color blue, and raise awareness. That's fine. I appreciate that. But we have to do much more than just recognizing in the month of April or autism. Just focus on social responsibility, not only on the month of April, but beyond. So, but yeah, that's what I want to talk about autism. For Autism Month, you got a little bit more about my story on the spectrum. And definitely, let's we appreciate all of you for being with me here. Let me see. Let me see the comments. If you have any questions, now is the time. You see who's here. Hi, Tony. Hi, Nicole. Excited. Thank you. Just reading the comments here. Definitely important to talk. Yeah, we need to talk about. One of the things is when to tell our children about if we have autism. That's an interesting question. Some of the comments are in Spanish. I'm going to read it in Spanish. Migdalia es un guerrero, super orgulloso de ti. You're a warrior, so proud of you. Thank you so much, Migdalia. Really appreciate this. Okay, this is an important question. Yadia Delgado. Highly functional people with autism are more likely to be misunderstood. Do you think that's real? Well, whether it's highly functional or functional. Yeah, a lot of times being misunderstood is one of the challenges that we face. But that's the reason why we need to be more clear in terms of what autism is and how it impacts not only the person but also communities. It's very difficult to see autism from the outside. Some people may think that, oh, this is a normal person. What this person have? And that could create more challenges in that regard. But I believe we need to find ways to work on that, talk about, or to mainstream society in terms of the different levels of autism. So that's one of the things that had to be done. It's really done. Okay. So let's see what we have here. My daughter is highly functional, but at school, teachers seem not to believe or understand her struggles. I completely understand. I went through a lot of the things that you mentioned. Let me see another question. Did you have accommodations during college? I did have, but not much. That didn't make much of a difference. But yeah, it's very important to get the accommodations in college. Yes, a better quality of life. Definitely. So, looks like we haven't any more questions. If you do, please always feel free to reach back to me. Follow my social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and many others. Also, if you're interested in learning more about my book called Autism Unscripted Life, let me see if it shows up better now. It's not showing up. If you want interested in buying an Autism Unscripted Life, please. Shows up better. Anyway, if you want interested in buying an Autism Unscripted Life, you can get it from Amazon, also from my website as well. And again, this is and also one last thing before I go, I want to make an important announcement that I'm going to launch officially my podcast, My Time with Tony Hernandez Pumarejo, this weekend, April the 2nd, Saturday, April the 2nd. So I was going to release the podcast in early January, but I was out for a couple months, burnout and traveling and taking my time off, working. I was working, but not on the public space. And to be able to do, I'm very grateful that I was able to finally launch the podcast on April the 2nd on Autism Day. That's very ironic, but there's no coincidence. So always follow my social media platforms, share. Please follow all my social media platforms, follow my YouTube channel, follow my podcast when it's released. Let's continue to talk about autism. I want to also talk about other topics, mental health, and many others that I want to talk about. So again, thank you so much for being with me here today. If you have any questions, and I really appreciate your time in being with me here today. So again, thank you so much, and all of you have a wonderful night. Blessings.